Welcome everybody to another episode of Broke to Millions. Turn that down for me, brother. Hey, thanks so much for joining us, man. Today we got a great show for you. We're going to talk to one of our students, Tyler Parker, how he's doing big deals, big returns with small apartments, all right? We're going to talk about how he utilized the deals of the Burr, how he made these big profits, and then we're going to go into our Q&A on the millionaire mindset. But before we go, we're going to talk about sponsor of today's show, the Big Deal Workshop. It's happening June 7th through the June 8th. We're going to have it here. Hey, will you hit that Instagram for me? So June 7th, June 8th, the Big Deal Workshop, workshop.com. It'll happen right here in Cincinnati, Ohio at the Sharonville Convention Center. All right. I'm not sorry, the Sharonville Delta. We only got 18 tickets left, so make sure you make it to the Big Deal Workshop. Also, this is brought to you by thesoda.com. We got our second tranche of funding. So thesoda.com, Nassau Invest. If you want to get on our investor list, just go to nassauinvest.com and join our portal, the investor portal, and we'll send you our next deal. So thesoda.com. And before we get started into our guest, man, cut back to me. Guys, man, like I said, we got a great show for you today. We're going to talk about a lot of different things here on how you guys can get better in this real estate. Okay. So in this segment, we're going to talk to Tyler. He's joined our mastermind. We're going to talk about why he's doing big deals. In this segment, we'll talk with Tyler Parker on how he started his real estate investing journey and his transition from houses to apartments. Listen, because you will learn how you can also transition to big deals. Hey, man, will you show him that beautiful picture of this family? I've been watching this guy, and look at his lovely wife and his two kids there. Give Tyler Parker a round of applause as he joins us here. Tyler, you there, brother?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah, man. So what's happening? How you been, brother?
Good, man. How you been?
I can't complain, man. So we're excited to talk to you guys. Hey, guys, tell us where you're checking in from, even on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Tell us where you're checking in from, and, always give your thumbs up and share what we're doing here. So, Tyler, man, big deals. Why Mastermind? So, Tyler, before we get started, tell us about your background before you started investing in real estate. How did you start off as a real estate investor?
Yeah, I had kind of a unique path. So I graduated I've been born and raised in Cincinnati, graduated from University of Cincinnati in '05 with a bachelor's in marketing with a focus in real estate. When I came out of there, I started wholesaling as a full-time job, working for a company that was national. They had 13 offices around the country. That's all they did was wholesale. They also the owner of that company also owned a hard money lender. So I was a loan officer at the time doing hard money loans, and I was wholesaling houses. So fast forward, I did that for about 10 years, give or take, 10 or 13 years.
Okay.
Wholesale as a full-time career. And then I bought my first rental in 2013.
Really?
And just kind of scaled up from there with the general goal of being vertically integrated. And so that's kind of where we find ourselves now.
Amazing. And so what type of real estate investing have you done or focused on before doing bigger deals? Like you mentioned you were wholesaling with a group. I forgot, what was the name of that group? They were pretty big back then.
So the first one was RealNet.
Yeah, RealNet.
RealNet, yeah.
That was the chop shop back there. That's what we called it, man.
That was an interesting place for sure.
I've
Yeah, learned a
wholesaled
lot.
houses to RealNet.
You wholesale, yeah, and the wholesale will
And
put
they
things.
wholesale my
Yeah.
houses to other buyers.
I mean, they had they had hard money loan, they had plethora of deals, and that's kind of where you learn the game, right?
Yeah, that's actually the first time I ever met Nate Barger. Was I was working at RealNet. I had just started there, and he came in. He was at the BMV. We had an office right next to the BMV, and he came in, typical Nate style, wanted all the answers real fast. And I didn't know what to think, So I actually met Nate a long time ago. That was probably '07, I guess, give or take. But yeah, so RealNet was an interesting place. They actually flew us into Orlando to train us on how to sell and acquisitions as well in wholesaling. So that's kind of where I learned mostly how to find properties. That was the biggest thing I learned there.
Hey there, I hope you're enjoying this video. If you want to learn more about real estate investing, check out my free live podcast I do every Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern. All you have to do is text the word podcast to 206-803-8068. Hope to see you there. Nice. And so what type of deal? You were doing single families?
Yeah, mostly single families, some smaller multis. I own a couple daycare buildings right now. My office is I have a church in this building, takes up about 80% of the space. So that's kind of the gist of what I was investing in, for the last, 10 years or so, give or take. Smaller stuff.
Gotcha. And then, so how did you go from wholesaling to transitioning to doing bigger deals? Like, what made you want to make this transition?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I remember in 2012, I kind of had a conversation with myself about, we were having a lot of fun. We were making a lot of money.
Yeah, you were.
It was relatively easy, right? We had a great system in place, and we were finding deals and selling deals, and we had a crew of, it was a bunch of young guys, and we were just having a lot of fun. But I realized that I had a job at that point.
Yeah.
So although I loved the job, if I stopped working, I wasn't going to get paid anymore. So I decided I need to start building a rental portfolio, start building some passive income. So that's when I bought my first rental in 2013.
Nice. And then so you started making that progression, but what made you join our mastermind? Like, why didn't you do it yourself instead of doing it through this group? Why not do it on your own instead of joining a group?
Yeah, there was definitely a couple reasons. One of the biggest things was networking. I know that, I had known you and Nate for 13 years before I joined Mastermind. So, I knew that you knew what you were doing and you were well qualified. And so, I didn't need to research who you were or what group to join. So networking, just get to know other people that are in the business and trying to find other partners that wanted to do what I was looking to do and to complement my skill set. The other big thing I wanted was some education, right? So,
right.
I think I understand how to do it, but you never really stop educating yourself. And so I found a lot of value in that. And also just mindset, there are definitely days where you're just like, am I doing everything right? Maybe I should be doing this. And you just kind of second guess things. And, it's nice to get into school or just being on a call or whatever and kind of, hearing people talk about what they're doing and just putting yourself in the right mindset. So it was kind of a three reasons I joined Mastermind.
Absolutely. That's great, man. So tell us about this 11-unit apartment there. You found it in Hyde Park. That's kind of a Class A area. So let's before we get deeper, just discuss the numbers, and we'll do a deeper dive in the next segment. So share the purchase price, renovation amount, rent increase. Kind of show us those numbers.
Sure. So I bought the property for $950,000.
Okay.
Like I said, it was an 11 unit, which sounds like a lot per unit, but in that area, it's actually a pretty solid deal.
Yeah.
And I'll kind of go into detail about how I found it, but just breaking down the numbers, to date, I've put about $30,000 into it.
Yep.
It was in pretty decent shape as it was. The previous owner took really good care of it.
Okay.
But it just needed updating. I probably could I'm probably going to end up putting another $45,000 or so when I turn every unit, and we haven't done a lot to the common areas, so there's still some work to be done there. So, it'll be $75,000 when it's all said and done, but to date, I've put about $30,000 into it. And so we've increased the rent to date, like $29.50 per month. So it's $35,400 a year.
Okay, $35,400 gross a year.
Right, that we've increased over.
Oh, you increased it $35,000. Oh man, how much value did that create for you?
Well, if you look at a 6 cap, which I think is reasonable for that area, and you assume the expenses are going to stay relatively the same, it's $590,000 in value.
Wait a minute. How much did you push the rents to? From where to where?
So the rents were between $650 and $750. A lot of them were at $650.
Okay, and you pushed it to what?
So what we did was we wanted to raise 3 at a time in case they all moved out right away.
Right.
We didn't want a bunch of negative cash flow. So We raised the first round at 900, raised the next round at 950, and the new units that we started renting out, we're renting out about 1050.
So you increased the rents by $350 to $400 a unit.
Yeah, so the ones that we didn't renovate, we increased by 200 to 300, give or take.
Okay.
And then the ones that we renovated, we put about 6,000 or so at the most in any of them. We were able to increase those about 300 to 400.
Okay. Okay.
Nice.
Great. That's amazing. And just by increasing that much, you created almost $500,000 in value.
No more than that, Mike.
More than that?
Yep.
Yeah, 590.
$590,000?
Yeah.
At a 6 cap, that's what the
Oh my goodness. That's
increase
amazing.
works out to be.
So I heard it, but what made you decide before you did that, what made you think this was a good deal?
Well, I definitely ran the numbers, obviously. Knowing what the rents were and knowing the owner of the building, I had known the owner for 10 plus years. He was a private investor of mine.
Right.
He also used to buy wholesale houses from us back in 2017 or so when we were doing that. So I've known him forever. I knew that he was down there every week,
Yeah.
vacuuming, cleaning up, pulling weeds. So I knew the property was in good shape, relatively speaking. I knew the units were outdated, just so there was some value to increase there. The property has 4 parking spots, which he kind of just let anybody park there that wanted to. So we charged $25 per spot.
Oh,
To all
wow.
the tenants and said, hey,
Is that included in this rent, the income you talk? That's not included?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it's included. Okay.
Yeah. So, that was $100 a month we made extra on the parking lot.
Nice.
We resurfaced it, restriped it, made it look nice, and did a lot of stuff to the front just to make the curb appeal much nicer. Again, just kind of increasing the value and the value to what tenants would come in and see.
Look, guys, if you find this information valuable, like and subscribe or comment Tyler in the Facebook or Instagram. If you want to hear more information about how these things, man, click the like button, follow us. But guys, Tyler is really kicking butt here. I mean, he created almost $600,000 in value
In 7 months.
in 7 months.
On an 11-unit building, which
On
is amazing.
That's impressive, man.
Yeah.
That's impressive. Anybody? What do you guys? Is this something that you feel like you can do? Type yes or yes, guys. Some of you are out here. You're bigger than what you think you are, and your problems are smaller than what you think they are. Some of you looking at these as a big hurdle, you cut back. Some of these think, these are big issues or this is a big task. It's not. If you just follow the process, you follow the process and the principles that we have, or wherever you get educated, you can do and be successful in real estate. You cut back to him. Let's get back to him now. Hey there, I hope you're enjoying this video. If you want to learn more about real estate investing, check out my free live podcast I do every Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern. All you have to do is text the word podcast to 206-803-8068. Hope to see you there.
Well, I want to say too, Mike, on that.
Yep.
I've done this DeBurr strategy with every property I bought, and I would say that there are, 75% of the single families that I've done were more difficult than this was. And
Oh my goodness.
That was kind of one of the biggest reasons why I got into the bigger multifamilies. And I said this years ago. So I stopped looking at things from an ROI perspective, just a straight ROI perspective,
Yeah.
and started looking at things from a dollars per hour perspective. And so,
There you go.
there were wholesale deals that we'd be working on for a year. We knew the seller, or we would talk to them, be talking to them all the time. We'd spend, 100 hours plus in a year, and we might make $20,000 on it. That's a nice profit. But if you can make $20,000 on something that you only spend a couple hours on, obviously that's much better. And so it sounds simple when you say it that way, but that's the reality of doing bigger deals versus the smaller ones.
Man, that's amazing. I'm glad you hit that. For me, what did it, for me to cross over into bigger deals, I was sitting with Dan Schimber. Some of you may know him. He's a big developer, apartment guy, student housing in Cincinnati. And it was actually a combination, but I'm going to put it all on Dan, okay? It was a combination of two people, but they were doing these large developments. I mean, every year they're doing a $20, $50 million development. And I would listen to them, and they had all the same problems. I was like, what do you mean? He said, you know, like, well, my plumbing contractor didn't show up. I was like, what do you mean he didn't show up? You're paying him $2 million. Didn't show up. I got that problem. And I ain't even paying him nowhere near that. Like, you would think that would resolve that problem. His leasing agent didn't lease the building up in time for them to refi the building, so he had to stay in the building longer. They didn't sell enough condos in a period of time. So they lost contracts, fell out of contract. You know, people weren't showing up for work. And my point is, we go through all of this, he's missing all these deadlines. And he said, but you know what, Mike? When I'm done, I make $5 to $20 million a deal. When you're done, you make $5 to $20,000. I was like, oh man, damn, bro! Like you ain't had to put it like that. And ever since then, I was like, I'm doing big deals.
There you go.
I mean, because we put the same amount of work in.
When I kept looking at people that are doing bigger deals, and I was thinking, well, they're probably doing it perfect. You know, they probably got everything figured out. They know what's going to happen. You know, and that was what kind of stopped me. I didn't know everything, and I was like, well, I don't know what's going to happen. How do I do the accounting, and how do I do this? And then I realized that just like anything, most successful people don't know everything. They're just willing to try and fail and try again. That's really the difference.
I'm glad you said that, Tyler. That was one of the big things that I was talking to people, man. As a matter of fact, this guy was a billionaire. He sold his company for over $1 billion, and then he said, you know, everybody thinks everybody knows. Just because they're at a certain level, they think they know more than the other person. And really, all they do is have a hypothesis. And then all they do is experiment until they find the right answer. Nobody really knows. You just, as you said, you try, you fail, you learn, you move, and you come up with a solution. Hey guys, if you want to invest in your own apartment buildings, text the word, I like to say, MOFO, to 206-803-8068. If you want to learn how to invest in your own apartment buildings, text.
Invest in or own apartment buildings.
As invest in or own apartment buildings, text 206-803-8068.
Text MFH.
MOFO.
MFH.
Type MOFO. All right, let's click back here, man.